Impact segment tonight. Crazy far-left folks are besieging the White House, as I told you, in protest of the Obama compromise. Roll call newspaper reporting that a group called the Agenda Project has swamped the White House phone system, disrupting some of it. Joining us now from Washington, Mark Levine, a former Democratic congressional attorney. So I'm basically saying tonight that this is almost a death knell of the far left, because most Americans are relieved and happy this compromise happened, yet these people are acting like two-year-olds. Am I wrong?
I think you are wrong, Bill. If you look at the Gallup polls, or frankly any polls on this issue, you find that the vast majority of Americans supported what the Democrats passed just a week ago. The idea that all Americans get a tax cut, basically every part of this deal, except that the mega millionaires and billionaires don't spend $133 billion on the nation's credit card, and the estate tax too. Other than those 2 points, the vast majority of Americans support the deal, and I wish the Democrats had stood with the American people, and I still hope they do.
But it would have been
a
Pyrrhic victory, as you know, as we explained. They could stand. Look, poll questions are very complicated. I know the polls you're referring to. I read them every day. And one poll says this, one poll says that, depending on the wording of the question. But the bottom line is, it wasn't happening because of our system. Because we have 3 branches of government. Because we have a Senate where you need 60 votes to get this thing done. President Obama knew he was never going to get it done. So as we said, it was a choice between raising taxes on everybody or compromising. So most clear-thinking, fair-minded Americans of all persuasions are going to say, you know, you got to do the compromise right now. But not these cranks, not these nuts. They're going ahead and saying, we don't care. We want you to burn up, President Obama, and now we're going to disrupt the White House phone service. Come on, you can't think this is doing the far left any good.
Bill, it was a legislative game of chicken, right? The Republicans said,
no, it was a
if you
chess
don't give
game. It wasn't
0.1%
chicken.
of Americans.
It was chess.
No, it was chicken. Let me tell you why. You had the Republicans say that we want to raise taxes on 99.9% of Americans unless you give mega millionaires and billionaires this massive tax cut, which doesn't help the economy.
They were saying we want supply-side economics because the stimulus hasn't worked. That's what we want.
No,
that's what the Republicans will want. That's what they wanted.
Let's talk about basic economics here, right? I mean, because I studied under Professor Martin Feldstein. He was Ronald Reagan's chief economist. And I learned at that time the government should normally run a budget balanced unless you have severe economic recession. And then the government should spend, but only in ways that help the economy. Now, economists agree that giving a bunch of money to people who don't need it and won't hire anyone because
of it,
it doesn't help the economy.
You're not giving anything to anybody, Mark. It's their money you're taking away. You're not giving them anything, okay? The Constitution says that the Congress has a right to tax. It doesn't say that you're giving anybody anything. That's a misnomer. But let's get back to supply-side economics, because this is the crux of the matter. The giant government stimulus, which had put the budget on its ear and run up trillions of dollars of debt, has not worked. Hasn't worked. So now it's time for Plan B. Plan B worked for Reagan, and it worked for Bush. Plan B, supply side. So Americans, again, I think some Democrats are in this, and they say, okay, the giant government apparatus didn't do it. Now let's try this. There you go. That's what it's all about.
I strongly disagree with your premises, and most nations' economists do as well. Look, first of all,
no, they don't.
The stimulus package did work. What you found is we were losing 700,000 jobs
unemployment is the score. It didn't work.
It would have been 14%, according to the nation's economists.
It doesn't matter what it would have been. That's conjecture and speculation. It's 9-8 on the board. That's the score, and that's not good, and that's why President Obama is having so much trouble. So now it's time for Plan B. But the loons don't want Plan B. They'd rather blow up the whole system. And that's where they're losing credibility. I'm telling you, that's what's happening. I'll give you the last word, Mark. Go.
I have long argued we need a second stimulus package. This is a second stimulus package, but the part we don't need is the part that doesn't help the economy, that transfers wealth from our Social Security money and our Medicare. You're going to have seniors who are going to lose their Social Security, so some mega millionaire gets some money he doesn't even notice. That's just a waste of money that we can't afford. Okay. And I wish Obama had fought hard for what the American people want.
He did fight hard, but sooner or later you either get wiped out or you surrender. He chose to surrender and fight another day. If he didn't,
I think the Republicans may not have held the economy hostage if he'd pushed them hard enough.
Well,
I really do.
He lost.
We'll see.
He lost.
He chose to lose. He
didn't choose to lose. He lost because the mechanism said he couldn't get it passed in the Senate. Period.
It wasn't the mechanism. It was Republicans' refusal to compromise.
All right. Well, that's the mechanism. See, the election elected more Republicans than Democrats in the House, and they didn't have enough for 60 in the Senate. That's the system. Mr. Levine, thanks very much. Plenty more ahead as a Factor moves.